Hi everyone. Power Cruiser. The Bulldog Classic has everything a powerful cruiser needs. Based on the Fat Boy, our goal was to take that distinctive look to the next level. The Fat Boy's chunky 18-inch wheels have been retained. They are extremely upgraded by painting the formerly matte grey fields in high gloss black. But the crowning glory of the standard wheels is certainly the combination with our pulley brakes. The 30mm lowering of the fork and shock absorber as well as our steel rear fender give the Bulldog Classic a compact, muscular silhouette. The Atlas handlebars fit like a glove and the conversion to a hydraulic clutch gives the front an ultra-clean look. Our new steel front fender also contributes to the significantly lighter appearance of the front. The reintroduction of the original paint design with the subtle grey lines focuses on understatement and makes the Bulldog Classic a motorcycle that focuses on power and style. Synergy is possible, also between customizers. We have been working with Custom Chrome Europe on custom projects for years. Our custom chrome project this year is called Undertaker, glossy black over even glossier metal. We really like this finish. We sell enough parts in this design ourselves, which some manufacturers call bicolor and others contrast cut. Both are correct. And if others have mastered it, we can acknowledge it without envy. We found these fabulous Revel wheels from Performance Machine in the Custom Chrome catalog. A dream in the two colors in which a man's bike is allowed to shine, black and metal, both shining, both contrasting and then merging again. The 21-inch front wheel format was quite interesting. The narrow sole with its dominant radius would be a sharp counterpoint to the bulky Fat Boy image. We also thought it was a subtle interpretation of the term contrast cut. The trick with this combination is that because the rim is significantly larger, but the tire is significantly narrower, the circumference of the entire wheel would hardly change, and therefore the geometry of the fork and its trail would not change. All we had to do was lower the fork a little and we can already say that the Fat Boy has become less fat and therefore more maneuverable with this narrow wheel. The 2-inch Codelin handlebars with the gangster name STR8 up give the front end a real character face. In contrast to the slim wheel, the handlebars are almost 5 cm thick and 2 inches in diameter. The Galfa brake discs also come from Custom Chrome. They have exactly the same dimensions as the original Harley discs, so they fit in the original calipers, but they definitely harmonize better with the Revel wheels. We also came up with a few things, like the satin grips and the steel seat, which we fitted to a seat shell from the Custom Chrome catalog and combined with a TXT fender from the same company. We added our strut indicators, even though the fender has no struts. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, and once it was fitted, it really sucked. The rear wheel is pretty close to the size of the original Harley rim. Of course, we inflated the tires from 240 to 260 mm. And how beautifully the lines of the contrast cut spokes flow from the rubber to the hub. We placed the switch discreetly under the tank at the same height as the ignition coil. This is notable because the coil has to be moved slightly inwards to make room for the switch. And of course we have the bracket for this newly positioned coil. Finally, let's move on to a part that is often dismissed as cosmetic by more advanced mechanics. This is the air cleaner housing. It comes from us and is called the Grand Classic. Doesn't it look like it was made especially for this Undertaker? Yes, our custom chrome project this year is called Undertaker because it is dominated by black and dark tones. Chico's pinstriping has created the color scheme for this, dark, subtle but not gloomy. It's anything but screamingly colorful, but it's not all black either. After all, the metal of our Undertaker is not just black, but bi-colored. Farewell is a sharp sword. The start button has already been pressed and, to the roar of Jekyll and Hyde's silencers, the Undertaker is off on its great journey through the trade fairs and custom shows. Soon you will find it on the custom chrome stages. And you should be able to recognize him quickly by his two-tone metallic blade. Primal forces on two wheels. It's a strange phenomenon. We always think of dinosaurs as green. But we're not talking about cuddly dinosaurs or dusty fossils. The Raptor is a predator, and with the Raptor force we took the risk of expressing elemental forces on two wheels. Admittedly, it could have been the color that gave us the idea. Our customer wanted the same green we used for our green booster. So our concept evolved coherently from one detail to the next. Our THUNDERBIKE wheels are definitely our trademark. It made sense to replace the fossilized Lakester rims of the standard Fat Boy with something a little snappier. We have that in our program. Don't the spokes on our big speed wheels evoke a very lively predator? They're bicolored, as if the fangs were gleaming, and with a huge size of 23 inches at the front and 21 inches at the rear, they alone are likely to evoke primal fear in a dreamy observer. But that's enough about the power of language for now. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The 23-inch front wheel needed a bigger disc, and with a diameter of 340 mm, our big speed disc is bigger, and with an adapter from us, the original Harley calipers fit. Despite the 5-inch larger front wheel, the caster is correct thanks to the lowering of our powder-coated fork. Our front fender adapts to the intake. We mounted the Hollywood-Light 32 handlebars to the old-style risers, which are as wide as a bird of prey. The satin finish grips resemble the scales of a dinosaur, and the stripe indicators hidden underneath are barely noticeable. In our prehistoric times, not only did those with powerful looks survive, they also had to be good at camouflage and deception. That is why dinosaurs with turn signals did not prevail in the selection mechanisms of nature. For the rear end of the Raptor, we went all out. Our single-sided swing arm kit is one-armed, allowing a view of the 21-inch big speed rear wheel on the right side. The left side is equally impressive. This is where we mounted our perimeter brake. Anyone who doesn't dream of elemental forces at this site has no imagination. Our side license plate holder exposes the Raptor's 260mm rear leg. It gives the Predator the jumping power it needs in the wild. The steel fender above is made of metal, and the indicators and fender are also well concealed in it. The seat shell with custom-made saddle and ancient-looking diamond pattern is adapted to this. What we have also adapted is our luggage rack. We're not showing it here because we're offering you the clean line for the show. But it can be easily attached to the bolts under the saddle. Then our Raptor really does have the survival capacities required in the wilderness of the new millennium. The Shorty Big Shot silencer system from Jekyll and Hyde also offers survivability. It is completely legal and will protect you from today's uniformed predators. The manifolds and the forward-mounted satin footrest system are adapted to it. The airbox cover, clutch cover and ignition cover are from our Torque line. They feature our THUNDERBIKE logo. Breeding also played a role in the prehistoric struggle for survival, as Charles Darwin discovered in the later years of his research. So it wasn't just those who were fit and had the strongest claws that survived, but also those who looked the best to their mating partners. So the pillion footerests stayed on for a reason. Now add a passenger footrest and we've ensured that our dinosaurs won't become extinct. For us, customization starts with the wheels. But it doesn't stop there. The components have to fit together, and so begins a process that branches out into the smallest details and ends with little covers that bear our name, like the ignition and clutch covers from our new custom line. These are like the icing on the cake that will not melt away. and anyone who knows a little bit about Harley styling will see that the Silver Blast is not just equipped with small plates. The name says it all. Silver Blast is an explosion of detailed solutions that had its big bang when the wheels were replaced. But it was also overdue. The 18-inch Lakester rims of the original Fat Boy are absolutely right when it comes to conveying its traditional name. But the Silver Blast was not meant to be a Fat Boy. So go for it with our slim 21-inch spoke wheels. We supply them in bare metal, but our customer wanted them black. Well then, we can powder coat them too. And that's when things branch out into the details. In this large front wheel format, the original 300mm discs would look all too tiny. We have the 340mm discs, and we have the adapters that allow the original brake calipers to remain on these discs. A front fender made of GRP fits closely to the front wheel. Lowering the fork neutralizes the change in caster caused by the larger front wheel. The gap from the wheel to the engine is now closed by our GP chin fairing. But our process really continues above the front end. We were able to incorporate our relatively new Atlas wide handlebar into the design. It is 35 cm high and 85 cm wide. Most importantly, it is 45 mm thick. This is where the Fat Boy lives up to its name. Pay special attention to the clean look of the handlebars. We have routed the cables, wires, brake line and an additional hydraulic clutch line inside. There is plenty of room inside the handlebars. Our satin grips and Atlas risers fit flush with the thick format. Of course, the handlebars have the 1-inch diameter at the ends of the grips that they must have to accommodate original Harley or aftermarket grips. You can barely see the stripe indicators mounted under the grips, and that's the way it should be. We also have a 21 inches rear wheel. So you don't have to search for it, it rotates in our single-sided swing arm kit. The view from the right is completely unobstructed. We don't have to be ashamed of the left side either. The rear wheel is slowed down by our huge perimeter brake and powered by our spoke pulley. Everything comes from the same line, the pulley and the wheel have the same number of spokes, 15, please count them. The steel rear fender hugs the 260mm rear wheel. Tight, because the rear can be lowered with our air ride. The indicators and rear light are concealed in the fender, and the seat shell for the saddle, which is quilted with Audi motifs according to the customer's wishes, is also part of the steel line. Our customer also ordered a passenger pad for the steel fender, which explains our satin finish passenger footrests. Our side license plate holder with the inside license plate completes the rear ensemble. Riding a Harley must remain a feast for all the senses, so the shorty/cut system from Jekyll and Hyde offers a sound that is always legal at the touch of a button. This system is only harmonized with shorter manifolds, and we have also matched the satin footpegs to it. For the sake of clarity, we must explain that the Silver Blast is not really silver. Rather, its color is the selenite gray that AMG cars are usually painted in. Our Silver Blast is also a race car. That should be obvious at first glance. And because that is the case, we are now naming the last cover with our name on it, the airbox cover from the Torque line. It's the icing on the cake that won't melt. As the nights grow longer and the streets glow in the dark, the Nightblood rises. This Harley represents everything that awakens in this dark season: wild, dangerous and uncompromising. It is a fearsome machine, blood red, with wheels like ice crystals, a GP chin fairing like a snowflake, and our massive Atlas handlebars. Is it possible to regret having turned a Dr. Jekyll into a Mr. Hyde on a Fat Boy, this cuddly Fat Boy with its chubby 18 inches tires? It all started, of course, with our GT wheels, enlarged to 21 inches at the rear and even 23 at the front, in a spoke design sometimes called snowflake by conversion aesthetes. We think this is appropriate for the start of the dark and cold season, and the exclusive two-tone finish is definitely snowflake. The Atlas handlebar is part of our scary range. The 45mm thickness alone makes it fearsome and requires its own Atlas risers. The height of 35 cm suggests that this bike is being ridden by a giant. Once again, we have hidden the turn signals stripe LED well, and the satin finish grips make you want to touch them. The clutch has been converted to hydraulic operation and all the lines are routed internally. The GP bug spoiler smooths the transition from the front to the bodywork, and don't worry, little ones, it won't eat any children. We've gone even further with the rear end, because the rear end is the best part of a custom bike, even if it's not for little kids. The single-side swing arm kit with 260 rear tires on the 21 GT wheel is designed to make grown men happy. Not only because the right side is completely exposed, but because only big boys can appreciate the aesthetics of the perimeter brake on the left side. Our side-mounted license plate brackets makes it even clearer, and the steel rear fender with recessed multifunction rear lights exposes as much rubber as possible. Air Ride keeps the ride firm, but with all the suspension comfort you need. Spirit Leather has upholstered the saddle on our 260 steel seat shell, this time in a more futuristic design. The paintwork was carried out by Ingo Kruse in consultation with our customer, in blood red, but above all in a riot of colors with flake and gloss effects. To conclude, the Nightblood comforts you through long nights and makes you look forward to sunny days. A bike that has its own unique appeal in every season of the year. Thanks for watching.